She was unfaithful, then packed up and left, dumping me with all the bills for the apartment we shared. She actually laughed and said, "What are you going to do, take me to court?" I told her, "That's actually not a bad plan." She realized I was serious when a sheriff handed her court papers at her new boyfriend's place. I'm not someone who gets overly emotional. I'm an accountant. My life is built around balance sheets, numbers, and logic. I believe in agreements. I believe people should honor their responsibilities. And I believe that when all's said and done, things need to add up. For 4 years, I thought Andrea and I had a fair arrangement. Now I understand I was just the one covering all the expenses while she was walking away with the benefits. This isn't a tale about broken hearts. It's about reviewing the damage and getting what I'm owed. It started like most situations like this do, with dishonesty. We lived in a nice downtown apartment. We both signed a 1-year lease. Our names were both on it, a legal promise we made together. We were supposed to split everything equally. That lease became the key figure in what followed. Around 3 months ago, things started to feel off. She'd be out late and say she was with friends. Her phone became something she guarded, and she started acting distant, like she was becoming a liability in our shared arrangement. I tried to talk to her about it, but she always flipped it back on me, accusing me of being distant or too focused on details. Then the truth showed up in the glove box of her car, a receipt for a boutique hotel, not far away, for one night. It listed 2 guests. This wasn't for business. When I brought it up, she didn't even bother to act sorry. She came clean. She'd been involved with a coworker named Chad. The fight that followed didn't last long. She said she wasn't happy, said I was dull, said Chad made her feel alive. Then she grabbed a bag and walked out. For years, gone in an hour. While leaving, she looked back and said, "I'll grab the rest of my stuff later. I'll send you my part of the rent for this month. Don't stress." Of course, I was hurt, but I'm someone who focuses on the facts. I had an apartment with 2 names on the lease, and only mine remained. The monthly rent was $3,000. Her share was $1,500 plus half of the other bills. I figured we could handle this like grown-ups. A week passed. Nothing from her. I sent her a message reminding her about the rent. She read it. No reply. Another week passed. Rent was due soon. I called. Straight to voicemail. I emailed her a clear list of our shared expenses, showing exactly what she owed. No response. She had completely vanished and left me to deal with everything on my own. Through a friend's account, I checked her social media. There she was, grinning with Chad, eating out, going on trips. It hit hard. She wasn't struggling. She was thriving, on money that should have gone to paying her part of the bills. I finally reached her by using a private number. She picked up. When she heard me, she groaned. "Oh my God, what do you want, Mike?" she said with an annoyed tone. "I want your part of the rent, Andrea," I replied calmly. "And your share of the utilities. You signed a lease. That's still binding until you're officially taken off it." She laughed, cold and smug. "Yeah, no," she said. "I moved out. That's your mess now. What are you going to do, sue me?" She said it like a joke, like she thought I wouldn't dare. She figured I was too boring, too predictable, not bold enough to make things messy. She thought I'd let it go. She underestimated me badly. She forgot what I do. I sort out complicated problems for a living. I don't run from them. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. A strange calm came over me. She had just spelled out exactly what I needed to do. "You know what, Andrea?" I said, speaking slowly. "That's a solid idea." Then I hung up. That was the start. She thought we were playing a simple game. I was about to teach her strategy. The next morning, I began my mission. I didn't see it as getting even. It was about retrieving money that was legally mine. I opened up a new spreadsheet and called it Project Recoup. The first page listed what she owed. Her rent for the month she left, and the next month too, since the lease required a 60-day notice she never gave. I added her share of the utility bills, gas, electricity, water, internet. I included the early termination fee from the lease, 2 months of rent, split in half. The total kept growing. Next came the evidence. That was key. Any case is only as strong as the records behind it. I spent the weekend putting it all together. The lease agreement scanned fully, with both our signatures. That was Exhibit A. My bank statements showing all the rent payments I had made. Copies of every bill, along with proof that I paid them. Screenshots of the texts and emails she ignored, showing I had reached out. A screenshot of my call logs with unanswered calls. A recording of our final phone call, legal in my state if one person agrees. Her voice mocking, asking if I was going to sue. That was my strongest piece. And proof that she had money. Photos from her public social media showing dinners, vacations, and a carefree life with Chad. I didn't need that last part legally, but it painted the full picture. She could pay, but chose not to. Then I moved on to the process. I visited my county's website and found the section for small claims court. I spent hours reading about how it worked, how to file, how to serve, what forms I needed. It was detailed, but it made sense to me, just like reading a financial report. I downloaded the complaint form and filled it out. I listed myself as the one making the claim, Andrea as the one I was filing against. I explained the issue, breaking our rental contract. I added the final figure she owed, $6, $254.72, and attached every document I had collected. It wasn't a sad story. It was a well-prepared report. My last hurdle was getting the papers delivered to her. A court notice has to be handed over face-to-face by someone who isn't involved, like a sheriff or a certified process server. But to get it to her, I needed a location, and she was hiding out at her new boyfriend Chad's place. I didn't know where that was. So for a week, I basically turned into a detective. I started with his name and his workplace, which was mentioned on his social media. A quick search of public property records turned up nothing. He probably didn't own the place. Next, I paid $29 for a more detailed background check. It gave me a list of possible addresses linked to him. One of them was a recently built apartment complex on the other side of town. To confirm if it was the right one, I came up with a simple plan. I ordered a pizza under Chad's name to that exact apartment number listed in the report. I paid online and added a note asking the delivery person to call when they arrived. Then I waited, parked outside the building. About 20 minutes later, I saw the delivery guy approach. He pulled out his phone and called, and a moment later, the front door opened. Chad came out to pick up the pizza. That was all I needed. I had the right place. The next day, I headed down to the courthouse. I filed the official complaint, paid $150 in court fees, and gave the sheriff's office the address I'd confirmed. The clerk processed everything, gave me a court date, and explained the sheriff would try 3 times to deliver the papers. Everything was set. I just had to wait. About a week later, I got a call from an unknown number. I picked up. It was Andrea, absolutely furious. "A sheriff just came to Chad's apartment," she shouted, clearly shocked. "He handed me legal papers. Are you out of your mind? You're seriously taking me to court." I let her rant. In my mind, I pictured the moment, a quiet evening with Chad, maybe watching a movie, interrupted by a knock at the door. Not a friend. Not a delivery. A sheriff, handing over a summons. The same mocking words she threw at me were now back in her face. "I told you I thought it was a great idea," I said calmly. "You can't do this," she yelled. "I'm not giving you anything. You won't see a cent." "That's for the judge to decide, Andrea," I answered. "I've got everything prepared, the lease, the bills, the texts. I even have a recording of you laughing and daring me to sue you. I plan on playing that in court." She went quiet. I knew mentioning the recording had rattled her. Then Chad grabbed the phone. He was full of fake toughness. "Listen, you lunatic," he barked. "Drop this now. You're harassing us." "Harassment?" I asked, my voice suddenly cold. "No, Chad. Harassment would be me calling nonstop or showing up where you work. What I'm doing is the correct, lawful, and mature way to handle a financial dispute. I'll see you both in court." I ended the call. My audit was done. The claim was submitted. Now it was time for the outcome. The hearing was set for 6 weeks later. Andrea tried every trick to make it go away. Chad called again, trying to intimidate me. Her mother called, begging me to forgive and forget. Then Andrea herself sent a long, messy email offering to settle for $1,000 if I dropped everything. I answered with one line. My claim is for $6,254.72. I don't bargain with people who owe me money. On the day of court, I arrived in a suit, carrying a binder full of clearly marked evidence. Andrea and Chad stumbled in 5 minutes late. She looked like she was trying to appear put together, but her fear showed. Chad tried to look tough, but came off like a schoolyard bully in over his head. When our case was called, I stood up and spoke calmly. I walked the judge through every piece of proof, the signed lease, the bills, the payments. Then I played a 30-second audio clip of our final call. Her cold laugh filled the room. The judge kept a straight face, but I noticed a hint of irritation in his eyes. Andrea's turn came, and her defense quickly fell apart. She said I was just bitter. She said she didn't believe the lease meant anything. She claimed she paid me in cash but had zero proof, no receipts, no bank records. It was an emotional mess in a courtroom that only cares about facts. After about 5 minutes, the judge interrupted her. "Ma'am," he said, sounding tired of the nonsense, "you signed a binding legal agreement. Your name is on the contract. That makes you just as responsible for the rent and any related penalties. Your former partner has provided strong and clear proof that you left the agreement and he had to cover your part. This is very straightforward." He banged the gavel. Judgment in favor of the plaintiff for $6,254.72, plus the $150 court filing fee. And that was it. I had won. I stood up, grabbed my binder, and walked out without so much as a glance at her. But winning wasn't the end. As she had screamed during that call, she had no plans to actually pay. A court ruling is just paper. Getting the money is another story. And this is where the payoff became truly satisfying. I waited the legally required 30 days. She still didn't pay. So I started the next step. I filed for wage garnishment. Using her work information, which I still had, I sent the order straight to her company's payroll office. A week later, my phone rang again. Andrea was sobbing. "My paycheck, it's gone," she cried. "They took most of it. My boss called me in. He got a letter from the court. You're garnishing my wages. Alex, please," she begged. "I can't survive like this. I can't pay my bills." "I'm not the one doing this, Andrea," I said, completely calm. "This is coming from the court. The system is collecting the debt. Every paycheck you get will be trimmed down until I'm paid back in full. That's how this works." She had mocked the idea of paying the price. She laughed at the thought of being held responsible. But now, every time she checks her bank account, she sees the impact of her choices. There's no hiding from it. No dodging a legal order. She thought she could disappear and leave it all behind. But now, the numbers are reminding her, every 2 weeks, that debts don't just go away.